On CP3-2, we're going to use algebra to find the circumcenter of a triangle. Okay, you're going to want the apodesmos, so you're looking for the graphing calculator version. And I'm going to think about what a circumcenter is. So a circumcenter is where three perpendicular bisectors meet. The perpendicular part says, hey, you're looking for your opposite reciprocal. The bisector part says, hey, you're going to want to find that midpoint. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do a few problems together here. When I'm doing this, I'm going to take my points. I'm going to find the midpoint. I'm going to find the slope of the side AB. And then I'm going to take that slope and find the perpendicular slope. And if I use the midpoint and the perpendicular slope, I can write an equation in point slope form, which remember is y minus some y value equals our slope times x minus an x value. And I'm going to copy that a bunch because I'm going to use it a whole bunch of times. Great. So the first thing I'm going to do is just look at AB. So I'm looking at this point and this point. And recall that to find that midpoint, I'm going to add my x's and divide by 2, add my y's and divide by 2. So I'm going to do -2 plus 4 divided by 2, 1 plus 3 divided by 2. -2 plus 4 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. Then I'm going to figure out the slope of that side. From 1 to 3, my change in y was 2. From -2 to 4, my change in x was 6. I need to use the negative reciprocal, which of 1/3 is -3. I'm going to plug all of that into my point slope form. If I want to rewrite this equation, I can go ahead and do that. So I could rewrite this as y equals, distribute that -3, add the 2, and I get 6. But I can also leave it just like this. And then we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're using BC. So I'm still using B. I'm also using C. -4 plus 4 is 0. Divided by 2 is 0. 3 plus 1 is 4. Divided by 2 is 2. From 3 to 1, my change in y was -2. From 4 to -4, my change in x was -8. That slope is 1/4. That perpendicular slope then is -4. I'm using this slope and this point in point slope form. So I have y minus 2, x value goes with the x, and my slope goes right here. Just like before, if I want to clean this up into slope-intercept form, I absolutely can. So I could have y equals -4x. When I distribute to the 0, I have just 0 again. Add the 2 over, and I can go like that. We're going to find one more equation. Again, I'm using A and C. -2 plus -4 is -6. Cut in half is -3. 1 plus 1 is 2. Cut in half, I'm back at 1. From 1 to 1, my change in y is 0. And my change in x is -2. This slope is 0. And the perpendicular slope for a slope of 0 is going to be undefined. Anytime I have an equation that's undefined, it's going to start x equals. And then I'm going to use whatever x value I have in my midpoint. because x has to equal -3, I can go ahead and fill that in. And then I have a choice. I can either solve this by hand. I can take one of my equations, let's say that first one, and say y minus 2 is -3 times, put the -3 we found here in for x, and then solve. I can also hop into Desmos and type these all in and say, okay, I have y minus 2, minus 2 equals -3 times x minus 1, and y minus 2 equals -4 times x minus 0, I don't really even need to write, and then x equals -3. And the point where they meet is -314, which is where my circumcenter is at. We're going to do another one, same exact process. First, I'm finding the midpoint of DE. So I'm looking at these 2 points. Halfway between 0 and 4 is 2. Halfway between -6 and 6 is 0. My x value is going to go with my x. My y value is going with my y. Then go ahead and find the slope between those. My change in y, I went up 12. My change in x, I went up 4. Perpendicular to 3 would be a slope of -1/3. If I would like to rewrite this, I could distribute that -1/3. Then we're going to look at EF. 4 plus 12 is 16, cut in half is 8. 6 plus 0 is 6, cut in half is 3. My x value goes with my x. My y value goes with my y. My change in y, I went down 6. My change in x, I went up 8. Perpendicular would be 4/3. Do that one more time with D and F. Halfway between 0 and 12 is 6. Halfway between -6 and 0 is -3. My x value goes with my x value. My y value goes with my y value. From -6 to 0, my y value went up 6. From 0 to 12, my x value went up 12. Perpendicular to that would be -2. Again, I can distribute these and solve it like a system of equations. I can also graph them. So I'm going to do y. I don't really need to type the -0 equals -1. Oops. Third times x minus 2. And then I have y minus 3 equals 4/3 times x minus 8. And then I have y plus 3 equals -2 times x minus 6. And they meet at 5, -1, so that's my answer.